we're gonna start off with a quiet reflection exercise. So I'm gonna get everyone to just close your eyes if you feel comfortable. If not, you can just sort of look down on the ground. And we're gonna just take a few deep breaths together, just slow deep breaths, just to kind of get yourself a little centered, because we're gonna try to inquire deeply here. Okay, and we're gonna try to be very honest with ourselves here. Okay, so think about the word sleep. Okay, and think about, when you think of sleep, what are the thoughts that come up for you? What are some thoughts and what are some emotions that come up? So just take a couple of moments to think about that. And then think about, how do those thoughts and emotions show up in your sleep behaviors? So the things that you do to prepare for sleep, how you wake up, how you deal with your sleep. How do your thoughts, feelings, emotions interact with your behaviors around sleep? Now, when you guys are ready, you can open your eyes and just note that down. And when I see that everyone's done writing, I will continue on. Take your time. So something that a lot of us do is, I think everyone probably has had some trouble with sleep at some point in their lives. And what we usually do is, Google or start talking to people and saying, how do I improve my sleep? And you're never going to get the right answer with that kind of a question. We have to really go backwards and think, how is it that I think about sleep? How am I behaving around my sleep? Okay, so I would love to today just to make this as helpful for everybody as possible. I don't want to spew out a bunch of facts, a bunch of strategies. I want to make sure that it's as relevant to whatever you guys are going through as possible. So as you look on your reflections, if anybody's brave enough to start off, let me know in terms of what came up for you, in terms of first initial thoughts about sleep, feelings about sleep, and your behaviors or concerns about sleep. So anyone that wants to begin.
I find that I go through how many hours do I need in order to function tomorrow? I've functioned on less. It's all it's very desperate, it's already 1 a.m. and I have to be up at 5:30. Can I do this? Oh no, and I'm already thinking about how I'm gonna feel tomorrow, and then I awake. If I go to sleep right now, I'm gonna get 4 hours. It's all just very intense, and it comes secondary to everything else I have to do in my life before I get into bed. So it's sort of as much as I can get, but it is what it is.
All right, so it's evening time, you're finishing up and you're thinking, how much more can I push it so that I can still get sufficient sleep? Is that correct?
I sort of just keep going, I've got 2 teenagers, 2 dogs, run a business. It's just, I get into bed at a different time every single day. And sometimes it's early because I cannot function any further in the day. So sometimes it's 7 p.m., but mostly 1, 2, whenever I can get to bed. So it's really if I can sleep, great.
All right. And how do you feel when you're thinking about how many hours you can get by on?
It's not great. I usually put on something in the background to calm my thoughts, and then sometimes take a diphenhydramine to shut down the thoughts so I can get to sleep.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's a really wonderful example, because that's one of the main reasons why people actually really struggle with chronic insomnia. So we're talking about not just sort of occasionally losing sleep, but it's our anxiety about sleep. So there's actually been a ton of research where they had people who are actually generally good sleepers, and they told them, to try to sleep, try to force themselves to sleep, and guess what happened? So they couldn't actually get themselves to sleep. So it's oftentimes the stories that we tell ourselves about sleep, these calculations, these anxieties. There's a ton in the media about how important sleep is, and yes, it is important, but what's happening right now is also, it's kind of freaking us out, right? Because we're finding out all of the things, and we start to think, well, I'm not going to be healthy. I'm not going to be able to function. You know, I'm going to be cranky, right? So we're having all of these thoughts, and that's actually going to make the sleep even more difficult, right? So one of the things that we do in therapy is actually start to really question those thoughts and try to reduce anxiety around those thoughts, and to kind of say, like, actually a lot of them often aren't true, because there are situations where maybe you didn't have sleep that was 8 hours or whatever, and you function just fine. Okay, so just something to consider. Anybody else? While you guys are thinking, oh, you had something?
I was just going to say, like, I've had a good day, a happy day, productive day, content day. I have no problem sleeping. Like the opposite. But I've done that too, where I'm like, oh my God, I only have like 3 hours to sleep, and now I'm even more anxious, and I won't be able to sleep at all. And then I wake up horrible.
Right. So in both situations, you guys are kind of getting stuck on the number of hours.
Yeah, not
right?
too often though. Like,
yeah.
I have to say I'm a better sleeper now than I ever have been. So.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh, that's great. One strategy you might want to consider is even having a little notepad next to your bed as well, so that you can actually kind of get those thoughts off of your mind, whether it's anxious thoughts, or even oftentimes we lay in bed planning for the next day and thinking, okay, I need to remember this. So then our mind is thinking, well, I need to stay up and remember this, right? So having a little notepad next to your bed to just jot everything down could be a really good strategy. Any other thoughts, anything else that came up during the reflections?
I'm just thinking, I do really well when I have a nap. Like, I sleep better in the nap than at night, because I'm worried about the project trying to finish. Each night I kind of think, oh, I can't sleep now, I should keep working. With the nap, I know, oh, I'm going to get up again and work. So that I'm going to much better sleep.
But yeah, so great, because then it sounds like you don't have the anxiety around it, for one. And one thing for everybody just to be aware around naps. So that's a controversial issue in sleep. Some people actually do really well with their night sleep if they nap. So it's not across the board that naps are not recommended. It's because taking a nap can actually take the anxiety away from putting your entire rest into your night sleep. So it's really on a case-by-case basis. So don't be afraid of naps, and just kind of assess for yourself to see if that actually is helpful. Now, like some people can't do like a little hour nap. Some people, if they take a nap for like 3-4 hours. So that I'm one of those people, like if I take a nap, I'm not going to get up during the day, right? So some of us have to keep that in check, all right? But it is definitely helpful for others. Yeah.
I have 2 cats, and it's like witching hour between 4:30 a.m. and 5:30. So I'm a great sleeper. I can fall asleep, no problem. I don't have anxiety about sleep, but I have anxiety thinking, when are they going to wake me up? Like, and it's, the most obnoxious things.
All right.
Yeah.
I think last time you brought that up because they had a new toy with a little bell or something like that. And I think I told you to get rid of the bell, get rid of the toy. Yeah, that's a tricky one. So are you waking up because you're anxious that they're going to wake you up? Is that happening, or
because they wake me
because
up.
they wake you
and
up?
it's not every night, so it's annoying because it's like if they don't wake me up, I'm like, good boy in the morning. But if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, that's a very tricky one. I've got one too right now. My cat likes to start meowing at a particular time. I'm kind of training him by not responding at the moment, but it's yeah. I don't know.
Pets are tough.
Pets are tough. Yeah, I mean it's the same kind of situation when as like young parents, right? Like you're kind of at the mercy of whenever your child wants to wake up. And if the main thing, I guess, is whether or not you're able to go back to sleep. That's the one thing that you could control. Are you able to go back to sleep after they wake
but
you
then
up?
I sleep through my alarm like today, so. Oops.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Anybody else have some questions or even notice something from the reflections? Yeah.
I just want to know if 2 or 3 hours sleeps, like I wake up every 3 hours on set my watch. I'm not anxious or anything, but then I'll go back to sleep quickly. If I have two or 3 hour sleep, is that as good as one uninterrupted sleep?
So funny enough, we all wake up around 5 to 6 times a night. We just don't remember it. So that's perfectly normal to wake up and then fall right back asleep. So if you are remembering it, you're probably up a little bit longer. So it's just as good.
It's just as
It's just as good.
Just
Yeah.
as refreshing.
Just as refreshing. Well, are you feeling refreshed? Yeah. 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 No, that's perfectly fine. It's really, again, it's how you feel. So everyone's going to have their own standards. There's people depending on your body composition, your stage in life. Some people do really well, even 5-6 hours. Some people need like 9 or 10 hours. There's such a big variation between what feels good for people and what doesn't, and what, like, who needs that extra rest. That's why I'm saying like naps or any other ways of resting, take what you can get, basically, because we don't all have the lifestyles that are allowing us to have the amount of rest that we need. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
So sleep is never an issue for me. I'm lucky that way, except this little thing called menopause, which really, really sucks. And no anxiety, I feel like $1 million, but then something will trigger in the middle of the night. Feels like anxiety, hot flash follows. I see lots of nodding around the room. It sucks. What can we do about that, my friend?
Yes, thank you. There was a question, I don't know if it was you, that asked about menopause last time. So there's a couple of things. One is for the hot flashes, there's a type of breath called a cooling breath that you could do, and that will also kind of calm you down. So we want to do like a very slow breath, not necessarily a deep one, if you're feeling anxious. So when you're actually feeling anxious, we don't actually want to do super deep breaths. It'll actually make us sometimes a little bit more anxious and can get us to hyperventilate. So slowing your breath and doing this like as if you're breathing through a straw. If everybody actually wants to try that and see how they feel, because it actually helps cool your body down a little bit. So just kind of purse your lips like this.
So in and out through the mouth, or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah. You can breathe out through your nose if you want to, or you can just do it through your mouth, but you just kind of purse your lips, and as you can see, it can feel like a little bit cooling. Yeah, so just kind of focusing on the breath. There's not really much you can do in terms of like not being woken up, because that's your hormones, right? So whatever it is that you can do to regulate your hormones as much as possible around, like, taking your supplements, doing your exercise, all the other lifestyle activities, right? But with regards to that, I would say breath is probably your best friend at that point. Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Breath is important for us to go back
To calm down the anxiety that's associated with, to cool you down and to get you back to sleep. Yeah, because you're trying to.
I have similar problems. Never had problems before. Got my 8 hours of beauty sleep all my life. Now I follow the same routine. Go to bed at 11, wake up at 2:12, and I'm up for the rest of the night. Maybe fall asleep at 6, almost fall asleep with my alarm again, if I fall asleep again. But working on 3 hours of sleep all those times.
Okay, so you're having a really hard time falling back asleep afterwards. So there's a few things that you can try. If you wake up and within 15 minutes you're not back to sleep, you need to get out of bed. Yeah, you need to get out of bed, and this is something that is better done with a therapist, honestly, because this is a very intense type of sleep training that you have to do for yourself. It's uncomfortable. Like nobody wants to get out of bed in the middle of the night, right? But this goes for when you're just going to sleep as well, and if you can't fall asleep, or if you wake up in the middle of the night, because what you're doing is you're creating anxious associations with your bed, right? So so now your brain is thinking at a subconscious level, this is a stressful place to be. All right. So one thing that you could do is some people will go and like if you have like a couch or a spare bedroom, go hang out there, do something quiet, read.
Like a Goldilocks. I've been to every bed. Maybe you will happen here. No, not here. Maybe here.
Yeah.
Then I forget the phone where the alarm is, and therefore I fall asleep.
Well, it's not. It won't necessarily be with an intention that I'm going to fall asleep here. It's just that I'm going to leave, and then when I feel sleepy, I'm going to go back to bed. And you just engage in a quiet activity, like you can listen to some quiet music. You can fold laundry. You can just do little quiet things that are, colored. Do something very quiet, obviously with a dim light, whatever it is that you can. There's other, I don't know if you've tried meditations at nighttime. So turning on a little story, white noise. I'll share some apps with you guys that you can try as well. There is, I know if you mentioned that there was yoga nidra that was spoken about in the very first session. I don't know if have you guys heard of yoga nidra? No, it's a type of meditation that basically, and my favorite one, if you wanted to note this down, there's a free one on Spotify called Breathe People or Breath People, where basically it tells you to lie down. It takes about 20 minutes to an hour, and it does like a body scan along with breath work. So it tends to be very, very relaxing. It's a good way. It's a good way to fall asleep. It's not meant necessarily to put you to sleep. So it's also good to listen to it at some point during the day to get you, to give you that little rest as well, or to help you fall asleep. So those would be a couple of things that you could try as well. If you've got more questions, though, if I'm at any point not answering, yeah, feel free to just throw them out. Yeah. Yes.
If you're not able to get out of the bed, so I'm also wake up at 2 a.m. and then that's it for the rest of the night. It's almost like I had a little nap, and then I'm up. I'm not able to get out of the bed. That will stir the dogs will stir the children. I just can't get out of the bed. I need to stay. I don't know how to shut off the thoughts. I don't know how to just make it all stop, because I'm I'm up now. I might as well consider all these things, and that embarrassing thing I said in grade 7, and I'm sure everyone's still thinking about it 40 years later. So what can we do if we can't get up and move to another room, but we're just
right
in that spot?
If you can stay in the room, but roll out of your bed onto a yoga mat, if you can just sit up in the bed rather than lying down, and then this would be if you're thinking about grade 7, whatever, all right, that would be a great time to do a little journaling. So maybe just on your phone, opening up a notes app and just get it all out. Because again, since you had the thought, now your brain is I need to hold on to this because then I'll forget. For whatever reason, it doesn't want you to forget about grade 7. So you need to get it out somewhere so that it knows that it's okay, I can put it down, and now if I ever need to reflect back on it, it's somewhere.
So staying up in the bed, just moving positions perhaps, as opposed to just laying there.
Yeah, and for some people it's not even safe, right? I definitely worked with seniors who are just if I get up, I'm gonna fall, or there's some mobility issues or something like that, right? So absolutely, yeah, you can sit up. You want to try to make it kind of enjoyable, right? So you could even. Some people will say absolutely no to this, but if even watching a little show or a movie or whatever it is, so that it's not a unpleasant experience for you because you're stressed out, right? But if you can wake up and you can be well, I'm going to just do this thing that I kind of find nice, read a book or something like that. Okay.
I think a lot of times people are having problems more than ever now is because of this little thing that we all have.
Yeah.
And you're looking at our computers and everything, and it's the blue light that's actually triggering daytime thoughts. So your brain is not shutting down because it's thinking, I have to wake up, it's daytime. Because of the blue light, it's triggering that in your brain. So I think you have to sort of, it doesn't really affect me because I watch TV and I go to sleep. So, but there are people that will get affected, and I think you have to sort of like shut down everything, or maybe get a pair of those blue light glasses or something, just so that your body starts to slow down and starts getting ready to sleep. So that might be a big reason why a lot of people are having sleep issues.
Yeah, it is for some. Yeah, some people are definitely more sensitive than others. I'm like you. I can just fall asleep with the TV on. I can look at the phone whenever, and it doesn't actually make a difference. From other things do, but that's not one of them, right? So it's again one of those things where, and this is why I asked you to kind of reflect specifically on your experience. Does this make a difference for you or not, right? Because if you do find that you're regularly, it wakes you up, this light really wakes you up, then you would. And I mean, a lot of phones have that setting. Like mine automatically goes to a darker light after like 7 p.m. So you can make that setting. Some people definitely had clients who will leave their phones in a different room altogether. At a certain time of day, they start dimming all their lights. They turn off all of the overhead lights and just turn on like their table lamps and that kind of thing. And that's definitely kind of telling your brain, hey, like it's time to go to sleep. Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So, yeah.
I was just gonna say, I find sometimes, like, generally I sleep quite well, but I think the idea of, as most of us know, to have that regular routine, and like you were just saying with the phone app, like I know I have, it gives me an alert, like bedtime is in 15 minutes or something like that. So like you said, kind of try to minimize, try to make it a quiet space, kind of set yourself up for success. But I find that if I do have a period where maybe uncharacteristically I'm waking up, I think to myself, okay, I need to change my sheets, flip my bed, and fluff my pillows. Sometimes I put my duvet outside, let fresh air go into it that day, just to kind of, reboot kind of thing, and just sort of freshen it up, have nice tight sheets on your bed. And it's amazing how it can kind of kickstart you back into a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
I love those. I love her.
Yeah, it's a really good example. Thank you. And actually, you got me thinking about another one that you guys might want to consider around for those of you who are having a hard time getting to sleep on time, and you just keep doing activities and getting into more and more things. Is setting an alarm that says basically don't start anything new alarm. Okay, so oftentimes when people have, okay, it's time to go to sleep alarm, they will ignore it because they're like in the middle of something, right? So don't start anything new alarm, I found has helped a lot of people, because then they're just like, well, okay, I have permission to just finish this thing, but then nothing else, and then go and start your bedtime routine after that. So thinking of, calculating backwards in terms of when would be a good time for that might be another thing to consider. I think I saw a hand.
I generally have good sleep, but I have a very stimulating job and physically heavy, so I go to sleep right away, but I don't feel very well rested in the morning.
Right. And
I keep replaying like my job in my head. It's feel like I just got back to work.
So do you work outside the home or?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really good practice to have a transition from work to home. So this is, again, where using the yoga nidra at some point, like if you're able to do it after you come home, just like a quick one, even for 10 minutes, go somewhere where you can recenter yourself. So kind of tell your brain, I'm not at work anymore, I'm at home. right? So that might be one thing, just doing like a quick little yoga nidra or just like a little meditation to just as a habit for your brain to say, not work, I'm at home now. Again, journaling might be a good idea. So if a bunch of things happened at work, or if you feel like you need to hold on to information to take you into the next day, making sure that you write everything down, even things where you're thinking, well, I can totally remember that, or I don't want to think about that. Those are all the things that you want to write down. You don't need to hold on to it. You can, or you can even sometimes write down everything that's happened and even tear it up if you want, and just kind of get it out of yourself. It was something, very difficult or stressful or something like that. Yeah, just because that's, in mental health, we talk about sleep as being a vital sign of your mental health, right? So if you're not feeling rested, if you're not sleeping well, it means that there's other parts of your life that aren't being taken care of as well, right? So it's not just about nighttime, it's about everything that's going on throughout the day, right? Did you eat? Did you sleep? Did you exercise, right? Did you rest? Did you have good social interactions? Did you get a hug, right? All of those different things are going to impact your sleep as well, because it's just kind of saying, hey, I'm not okay. Something's going on. It's not just about all the, sleep hygiene and all of the things specifically around, or all the behavior specifically around sleep. It could be anything and everything around your day as well. Yeah. How am I with time? Oh, you're good. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to ask. Challenge me as much as you want with things. I've come across quite a few different situations, and also trying to make this as applicable to you as possible. So if there's something that we're not going deep enough into, this is your opportunity as well. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it was you and then you.
This is not my personal situation, but I'm studying holistic nutrition and I have a case study. A person who, let's say once a year or maybe twice a year for 5 days in a row, doesn't know why, she can't sleep. And what's odd with her, she stays awake every night, but feels energized like nothing happened, like she had a full night's sleep, restful sleep. Any idea on why this would happen, like what to drive deeper into, find out?
Yeah, I would wonder if this person, the first thing that comes to me is mania, is if this is someone who might be bipolar, potentially. No. At some point, it could be just someone that's, hyperstimulated about something. Sometimes we get really excited and we just kind of run on empty. Another situation could be, an anniversary of something.
Subconscious work, because we were trying to figure out something that she can be aware of, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything that was different at that time of her life?
Yeah.
It felt more like what you seem to indicate, like there's something going on, which may not be
there is something, and it might be, they might have to go all the way to childhood. I mean, the thing is with subconscious things that show up in the body is that oftentimes our brain accessing those subconscious events, so they can be very well forgotten and the person may not have access to it consciously. So it would require a lot of digging. Yeah. You had a question?
The bladder tips. So if I'm not having hot flashes, then it's the same thing where it's 5 in the morning and you're like, you don't want to wake up your kids, you don't want to crawl to the bathroom, you gotta go. And you try to not drink as much water before bed, an hour or whatever. No matter what happens, you still have to get up to your bathroom.
Yeah, that's a really tricky one. I can't remember which age. I think it's like after 40, it is normal to get up once or twice. So that is like, it's yeah. But that being said, the frequency for some people, they might go and then they might come back and they're like, oh, I still feel it, right? And if it feels like it's a lot more than that, then that could be actually needing to train your bladder. So that it becomes actually more of a psychosomatic kind of situation where it could be your bladder keeps telling you to go pee because you've been going to pee a lot, right? So sometimes when we're anxious, or you might notice that during that certain days during the day you're going quite a bit, right? Because you're actually using it as a stress relief to get up and go to the bathroom, maybe when you don't actually fully need to. So that can then transfer into the night. So it would be, you might want to kind of experiment if it's more than like once or twice in the night with just kind of laying there and being like, I guess, like that in that video, can I reabsorb this, right? Yeah. So once you get up and you're like, well, now I'm awake, it'll be the same type of thing as with like with any other situation. People can't fall back asleep. Is again, you might have to go to another room, set up, just find some activities that feel pleasant is the main thing, so that you're not dreading, you're not going to sleep and thinking, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be miserable for hours on end. You're thinking, okay, if I do wake up, I'm going to have this kind of pleasant thing to do, and it's not a big deal, and I'll make up for the sleep the next night or whatever. So kind of having some pleasant, non-panicky thoughts around sleep is gonna be helpful.
I was just going to add, just on the opposite note, it's funny, we're talking about having trouble sleeping and being woken up by that. Just a little tip, if you have teenagers that are sleeping too long in the morning, advice that I've given to mine is sort of like set your alarm at the time you want to wake up and stand up and go to the bathroom, like just go sit in the bathroom, do your business, go back and lay in bed, and then eventually you're going to train your body exactly what you're saying. Your body gets used to, it's going to wake yourself up because your bladder is going to say, hey, time to get up.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one.
Sleepy teenagers.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one. That's a good one. Yeah, thank you.
Go to the bathroom, do it like 3 or 4 days in a row, and then they'll start getting up.
That's great.
And lock their bedroom door.
Sorry, I have time on. Do you know much about CBD and CBN for?
Some people have had some success with it. I would go more to your doctor. I wouldn't want to comment on it because it really depends on your body chemistry. But I will talk about just taking substances in general. So there were questions about melatonin in our last session. I know a lot of people end up taking sleeping pills. All of those are made to help you get through jet lag. That was the initial reason why they were created. Or a crisis situation. We live through something really difficult. We end up having a difficult time sleeping. So they're meant to kind of get us through maybe like a week or two. So I would think the same thing about something like CBD. So that's something just to consider, that these are meant to be short-term solutions. I wouldn't want to do it for too long, as much as possible.
Take magnesium.
We'll talk about it.
She's got that question. Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I have a problem called bedtime fasting.
Yeah.
So,
Like a kid?
I hyper-focus, I get so excited at bedtime because I know I can stay up. Because everybody's asleep and, the house is quiet, and here's a time when I can do everything that I can't do. But what happens is, and I'm so jealous of all my friends who go to bed at 10 or 9:30 or whatever, but how do you get to sleep earlier? Because I can't fall asleep. Because I'm used to staying up.
Do you need to wake up early?
Yeah, on the weekends, I'm like a teenager. I sleep in until 12.
All right. So you're basically putting yourself in jet lag every week.
Yeah, but I can't sleep.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If you're saying you're staying up until 2, so there is a time in the evening where your body's telling you to go to sleep. All right. There's probably a time where you're kind of feeling it and you push through it and then you get your second wind. So that's the problem, right? Is because you push through to the second wind. And that's when our appetite, and usually the second wind is between like 10 and 2. So that's when we get our appetite. That's when we do the night eating. That's when we do the watching. That's when we can get really productive, because we're actually at that point, very similar to mid-afternoon, the way that we, between like 10 and 2, like 10 in the morning to 10 in the 2 in the afternoon, right? So we kind of want to avoid pushing to that. So what I would recommend, kind of a mindfulness type of practice for you, is that you're probably not picking up on your body's cues to go to sleep. That would be one. And the other one is what you mentioned. I'm having revenge sleep procrastination, right? Or revenge sleep that people talk about. Yeah. So I would recommend you do a progressive muscle relaxation. That's what I recommend. So I actually work with clients with ADHD. That's my primary client. So most of them are like, don't talk to me about meditation, right? But progressive muscle relaxation tends to be a really good one, because what you do is you actually tense up your muscles and then relax them. So you're not having to go and like make your brain stop thinking or anything like that. You just take 5 minutes and you tense your muscles and then you release them. So you can try to find like a YouTube video or something like that. I would also recommend like having that timer of like, don't start anything after this time as well. And thinking about what is it that you didn't get done during the day? Like, why is it that you feel like you need to stay up? Because you might just feel like, well, my whole day I've been doing things for other people and there's these really fun things I still want to do, right? So can you get those things done at any other time of the day, or can you schedule them for the weekend maybe as well? Okay.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
But because she's sleeping in on the weekends, doesn't that kind of break her whole sleep habits?
Yeah.
So by Monday, you come in and you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but you're...
Yeah. So she's basically living through a jet lag every single week. Yeah.
Right? So we have to, especially when we get older, we have to like do everything on the same time. So
Yeah.
we get used to it.
Yeah. But it sounds like you're trying to make up for the sleep on the weekend. Because at this point, I would say, like, don't worry about making up for the sleep on the weekend, because it sounds like right now you still need to get that sleep, right? But once you're able to get yourself to bed a little bit earlier and start picking up on your body's cues to do it, right? So just even like having an alarm in the evening go off every hour and just kind of asking yourself, like, do I feel sleepy right now? Because I'm someone that tends to go to sleep a little bit earlier, but I know that if I decide to stay up with my husband and watch a movie, like past like 9:30, then I'll be up. Yeah. Then it's hard to go back to actually go to sleep after that. Yeah. And I just want to give a tool real quickly before we move on. So there is an app for further information, because I know we could only get through so much. If a lot of the stuff that I talked about comes from a therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. Okay, and there's an amazing free app called CBTI Coach that I would recommend you guys check out. CBTI Coach.
We'll probably add it in the email.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Follow-up email that
Yeah.
will have the key
With the
links and stuff.
Great. Yeah. So some of the tools I want to highlight from there is there are assessments in there that help you but will help you understand your what your anxieties are around sleep. It's going to ask you some good questions to kind of get at that. There's a lot in the Learn section there around sleep hygiene, and there's also a journal there So if you're really struggling with sleep, you can actually, it'll give you a set of questions for every day that you kind of go through, and you kind of, where you can talk about your sleep, and you can set your work towards getting the kind of sleep schedule that you would like to have. Some people do really well on their own with that. Some people need a little bit of support. So if you've got, you know, a therapist that can assist you with that, then that might be a good idea. It's also really great to go through that, because then if you're going to go to a therapist, you can present them with some really good information. So it'll actually make your sessions a lot more productive as well. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I came late, but I wanted to see if, did you speak to and address sleep apnea after menopause? Increases in incidence.
Yes. No, I didn't talk about sleep apnea, but I would say is that if you do have it, really important that you do get a CPAP, just because it's got such, you know, a lot of people tend to really resist the CPAPs. Also, this one, haven't tried, but I kept coming across this, is, you know, oftentimes with sleep apnea, if you do sleep on your side, you don't tend to have the same kind of breathing challenges. So having, putting something on your back, I heard people like sewing like a tennis ball onto their t-shirt, or putting like a little wedge behind their back, or something, right? Like to kind of just get them to sleep on their, to sleep on their side. But definitely talking to your doctor, because obviously it's important to really take sleep apnea very seriously. Yeah, it's more than just like an annoyance for your partner to.
But you might not know, right? Yeah. Like, so some people have, and they just wake up like, why am I so exhausted? I'm not doing anything different except I'm in perimenopause or menopause.
Right.
So just get tested.
Yeah, going for a sleep study. Yeah.
I will say I kind of resisted doing the sleep study for the longest time, and had a CPAP, and like game changer, because I never had a hard time sleeping, but I could be exhausted all the time.
Yep.
All the time.
Yeah. Because you probably didn't realize you were having a hard time sleeping, right? Because you're
it's nice that I'm putting myself.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a good point.
I adjusted to it so fast.
Okay. No, thank you for bringing that up. That's a really important point. Yeah. Yes.
So good? Yeah?
Okay. I don't know you, because I know our time shifted, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, yeah. So thanks, Diana, so much for your knowledge. Yes, appreciate it. Thank you.